Okay, my name is Martin Jones, and I want to talk to you now about P2 past paper analysis. I'm going to attempt to do the P2 past paper analysis based on syllabus areas. Frankly, it doesn't really work. I'm going to try my best to talk to you about how the exam works and try and talk to you how the syllabus works, but percentages just don't really mean anything in P2. I'll start by saying there's 125 marks for P2. And P2 is essentially essentially financial reporting. Slightly oversimplifying it, but P2 is essentially financial reporting. Now, if you were to go to the ACCA website, you'll find that the actual financial reporting is contained in C and D. In C and D. So, reporting financial performance is what we call the accounting. So that's the accounting standards such as leasing, revenue recognition, accounting for inventory, accounting for financial instruments, accounting for anything, just accounting. So any accounting ends up in C, which is reporting financial performance, and D, groups, is just what it sounds like. It's the process of consolidation. And that's the whole syllabus is in C and D. There's 125 marks, and approximately speaking, the weighting between C and D for those 125 marks is it's around about 100 marks of accounting, and therefore 100 marks of C, and 25 marks of D, which is group accounting, and that's it. Okay? The other areas are examined, but indirectly. So I think it might help if I were to just spin you a little story, and you'll see just how the examiner can examine the whole syllabus in one tiny little area. Hopefully you'll understand that, it's really, to be honest with you, analysing the syllabus doesn't help you, but analysing past questions does. So as I work through P2 with you, I'll be focusing very, very much on the P2 exam, and less so on the P2 syllabus, because the syllabus doesn't really tell you what the exam's like. To illustrate the point, I'll just make up a little question for you, based on a past exam question, and show you that actually the whole thing is being analysed. So here's a past exam question. The examiner tells you about a parent and a subsidiary in the oil industry. They're both in the oil industry, and and the subsidiary is being promoted for sale. In order to make the subsidiary more saleable, the parent is trying to manipulate the financial statements of the subsidiary, particularly reduce the gearing. Okay? Reduce the gearing in order to make the subsidiary more attractive. So the parent tells the subsidiary to treat some of its leases as operating leases rather than finance leases. Okay? In order to push the finance off balance sheet and make the subsidiary more attractive. You okay so far? It's tricky, this, isn't it? And the requirement is discuss. 6 marks. Okay? That's a lot, isn't it? Can I just do that again quite quickly? Parent, subsidiary in the oil industry. Parent is telling the sub to treat its real finance leases as operating leases. That's having the effect of reducing the gearing of the subsidiary. And the reason it's doing it is because the parent is trying to sell the sub. Okay? Discuss is the requirement. It's only 6 marks, but it's examining the whole syllabus just in one little scenario. Can I show you how? A, professional ethics. Clearly the accountants that are up in the parent are forcing the subsidiary accountants to do creative accounting. And creative accounting is in breach of professional ethics. It's lying, isn't it? Creative accounting is lying. So the question has professional ethics. It's partly part A. B, financial reporting framework. There's a definition of an asset and the definition of a liability. And when you have a lease, you have a liability. And the parent is telling the subsidiary to push the liability off the balance sheet. So, yeah, it's related to the financial reporting framework. Next, C, reporting financial performance. Of course, leases, it's accounting, isn't it? The real core of this question is accounting. And lease accounting, operating lease accounting and finance lease accounting is found on the syllabus in Part C. So it's Part C. D, it's Part D, it's groups. Because the parent has control of the subsidiary, the parent can tell the sub what to do and they have to do it. So it's Part D. E, it's a specialised industry. It's working in the oil industry. It's not particularly relevant that it's working in the oil industry, but nevertheless it is. G, appraisal of performance and position. Well, of course you can see what's going on there. They're messing around with the gearing, the ratio of gearing down there. And we're appraising that and realising that it's to do with the fact that the subsidiary is for sale. And finally, current developments. There is a current development at the International Accounting Standards Board banning operating lease accounting. And therefore, the creative accounting that is being employed by the parent is possible now, but won't be possible in the future. So, one little question does the whole syllabus. And therefore, it isn't meaningful to split the examination by percentages between those. Except just to say what I said earlier, and that is that the knowledge that is required within this syllabus is contained in C and D. C is the accounting, they call it reporting financial performance, that's the accounting, and D is the group consolidation process, understanding group accounting. And between the 125 marks, it's about 100 marks of accounting and 25 marks of group consolidation. That's about the ratio between those two. There isn't really any great meaning, however, in splitting beyond that, because as you can see, every question requires you to use your professional ethics. It requires you to consider the framework. It requires you to consider changes in regulations. It requires you to appraise and analyse. So it's not a compartmentalised syllabus, and that's not really how the examiner sees it. Okay? So a difficult thing there, past paper analysis based on the syllabus area, but that's what I've been asked to do, so that's what I've done for you. Right. I think I will say good luck with your studies on P2 at this moment and continue to the next recording.